All right, what we want to do now is talk about how to explain life insurance in the context of something that everybody absolutely understands. I think the issue that's out there most of the time is most people think it's a very complicated and confusing subject. And so what we want to do is we want to talk about and explain life insurance within the context, again, of something that everybody understands. And what everybody understands is renting versus owning. So keep that hat on as we go through this and be thinking of that concept, rent versus own. All right? Okay. So that's what we want to be able to do. And so when are we going to use this? You can use this in lots of different situations. Someone walks up to you and says, I'm not really sure what kind of insurance is best for me, or what kind of insurance do you think is best? That's always a very subjective kind of answer. So this is a great place to use the concept of rent versus own. Let's say you're finishing up your financial checkup. We get down to the end, and you've secured that next appointment. You're going to be coming back. You might want to ask them at that point, so I can be a little more prepared when I come back. Let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think your knowledge of the different kinds and options of life insurance are out there? The typical answer you'll get is, oh, I'm probably a 2 or a 3. And you could say, that's very, very common. But let me just give you a real quick 5-minute lesson on life insurance, and then we can go right into a quick explanation of renting versus owning. All right, so that sets up our talk today about life insurance and the concept of renting versus owning. All right. So here's what we want to ask people. We want to say to them, okay, I want you to answer this question for me. If you needed a place to live, what are your 2 options? They may look at you and say, thinking, well, there's lots of options. I could live in lots of different locations and things. You say, no, I'm not talking about where you can live. What are your 2 options in how you can live? All right, so you can either rent or you can own. That's it. There's only 2 options that are out there: renting or owning. So then what we want to do is say, again, there's 2 options. You can rent or you can own. All right. So they're going to probably agree with you. Sure. Okay, I understand. Then you want to ask them this: what are the advantages to renting? And you can just do this on a piece of paper. All right? So the advantages of renting are what? Well, initially, the cost is lower. So it's a lower initial cost. All right? Another advantage to renting is what? It's temporary. Or another way of saying that is no long-term commitment. Right? Okay. Those are the positives to renting. What are the negatives to renting? Well, the big one, the first one, is zero equity. Right? You pay your rent, and there's nothing to show for. You get to live there, but there's nothing to show for it. Everybody understands that. The other negative to renting is, over time, what always happens with rent? It goes up. So over time, you have increased cost. All right, so now we have our pluses and minuses to renting. There's one other that we want to put in here, because most people understand this as well, and that's there's 0 tax benefits. Okay, so now we have the pluses and minuses. So let's move over to owning. And let's do the same analysis. What are the positives to owning a home? Well, the first positive is equity. As you're paying your monthly payment, you're building equity in the home, and hopefully you're also getting what we all used to get, and that's appreciation in the home. All right? Another positive are tax benefits. So when you purchase that home, if you're not able to stroke the check for the full purchase price, you get a mortgage, and the interest on that mortgage, of course, is deductible on your taxes. So you have tax benefits as well. The other benefit is over time, decreased cost. What we're talking about here, obviously, is as the equity is building up in your home, what you're paying, okay, minus the equity, reduces your cost over time. So those are the positives to owning. So what are the negatives to owning? Well, of course, early, you have higher initial costs. Okay, everybody understands that. And what potentially could be another negative is it is permanent. There is a long-term commitment. Buy that house, you cannot give it back. All right, so we want to just go over this with them very quickly. And again, you can just do this on a sheet of paper. Rent versus own. All right? Now you want to finish this up by asking this question. If you're looking at this and you take money out of the equation, if money was not a factor whatsoever, which would you prefer? Now the answer that you're going to get every time is everybody will say, okay, well, I'd rather own. And then you're going to say to them, of course, I hear that. That's the answer we get virtually every time. All right? So they're going to probably commit right there to owning would be the desirable way to have a place to live, right? Okay. Now we're going to ask them the question, if you're looking at life insurance out there, how many different kinds of products are there? Options that are out there. You know, you've got 2,500 life insurance companies, so how many different products are out there? And you're probably going to get an answer like, well, gosh, there must be hundreds, I mean, potentially thousands. No, actually, there's two. There's two kinds of life insurance. There is term and perm, or permanent. Okay? That's it. So if we're looking at this, we can simply put there is term and there is permanent. That's it. And they work the exact same way. The exact same way as renting versus owning your home. Let's look at it real quickly. Term insurance. Why would you buy term insurance? Well, you would buy term insurance because the cost, the initial cost, is lower. All right? You may have a very fixed period of time that you're looking to cover. Maybe there's a loan, or if you're a business owner, you have a line of credit. But it's a very fixed period of time. It's a temporary need. Okay? So term insurance is temporary. The negative to term insurance is zero equity. You pay your premium, and if something was to happen, you were to die, obviously the company would pay the death benefit, but there is zero equity. Over time, just as in your rent increasing, term insurance premiums will always go up. And there are no tax benefits associated with term insurance, obviously. Okay? So you have the same pluses and minuses for term insurance versus renting your home. Now we move over to the permanent side, permanent life insurance, okay? What are the benefits of permanent life insurance? Same as owning your home. You're building cash value in the policy, which can be analogous to equity in your home. Tax benefits. The internal cash value buildup of the policy grows on a tax-deferred basis, so you get tax benefits with permanent life insurance. Over time, the net cost to the permanent life insurance is less because, again, of the cash value that's accumulating in the policy. The negative to permanent insurance is, of course, initially, the premiums are much higher, just as it would be in owning your home versus renting your home. And it is permanent. There is definitely a long-term commitment to permanent life insurance. It's not something that you're going to get into and get right back out of. That would be very expensive if you were to do that. So we want to ask them the same question. If money wasn't an issue, which would you prefer? And oftentimes, the answer that you'll get is, well, I think I'd rather own that, okay? Then we want to say to them, well, money is an issue. Let me go back, put together some ideas for you to consider, and then we can see which would fit best for you. See, there really isn't any best policy. It's what's ever best for you. And this is a great way to explain to people the concept of term insurance versus permanent insurance.